Pop. See you in the comments already. The cat will be blamed for nothing. April, good morning to you. Good morning to everybody else in the chat. Already piping hot chat. Welcome into the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. And, oh, man, you bet your ass it's lovely to have you along for the ride. Goodness gracious, so much to get into today. I found myself watching Vic Fangio because I definitely wanted to hear what he had to say about missing Nakobe Dean. What's that going to mean for the defense? Who's stepping up? Nicholas Morrow comes back. What? Yes, he's back. But who's going to be the next man up? A lot of people anticipating Oren Burks. A lot of people rooting for Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And I think one of those people is Vic Fangio. Not that he's rooting, but it looks like he's going to be giving Trot Jr. his opportunity, which is interesting. We're going to go through the snap counts of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. this season. And there was one thing in particular that Vic Fangio said that made me go, oh, it's going to be Trot. Because he was asked about both players filling in for Nakobe Dean. And he said, obviously, you can't fill in the chemistry right away. You can't just all of a sudden have chemistry. But he does something in practice to help expedite the process of chemistry coming together faster than normal, which is have guys that don't start and don't play with one another in practice, just to give a little foundation. So when you step out there on the football field, it's not the first time that you're trying to get to know the guy next to you and know their tendencies. As many people assumed, the green dot does go to Zach Bond. So that's one question that is definitely answered in yesterday's press conference. But I found myself as I was watching both Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore going, huh. And usually, if you guys have watched me throughout this season, I've watched Kellen Moore and gone, I got nothing. I got nothing out of that. He does a fit. Here's how I know Kellen Moore is going to be at least very comfortable in the head coaching role wherever he ends up. And, hopefully he is here another year. Hopefully Howie Roseman says, well, why don't you take another year? You don't want that Cowboys job anyway. Money. And Jeffrey Lurie just goes, money. And he stays another year. But the interesting thing with Kellen Moore yesterday, talking about it with as far as the whole game plan going into this last week's game here, the game plan going into this game here coming up against the Rams, was that I was listening to him talk about the passing game. He was asked questions about the variety of the passing game, and I'm listening to him answer those questions. I'm actually getting something out of this. He's talking about adjustments Jalen Hurts is making. He's talking about Jalen Hurts being more vocal in the game plan as the season has gone on. He talked about the secret sauce of communication. That is a quote, secret sauce, baby. So I actually got something out of Kellen Moore's press conference yesterday. And guess what? We're going to talk about it. Also, the video Dan Orlovsky put out there regarding the open receiver. Somebody hit me up yesterday in the comments after the show, and they were just like, I saw guys open. I don't know what Dan Orlovsky was talking about. One of the things that jumped out to me the second time I watched it, I was like, let me run that again because I thought I saw guys open as well. When he's referring to guys being open, I mean, it might look like, especially if he freezes it, that those guys are open. Now, if those are timing routes, well, then yeah, you're going to let it rip and those guys would be open. But if they're not timing routes and they're literally through the progression, well, then that's a bit of a problem. And what I also noticed was when a lot of times, either when that guy got open, he was maybe third in the progression, or when somebody was open, Jalen Hurts was already flushed out of the pocket. So that's a little late to be opened, unfortunately. And then I was forced to go back and look at a little bit more of the all-22, and I timed the touchdown pass to Jahan Dotson. I thought originally it was 6 seconds. I just got that from clicking it off during the game. It was closer to 8. Snap to throw, Jalen Hurts to Jahan Dotson. So that was all the time in the world. And back to Kellen Moore and things I got out of it. He actually talked about the Packers doing things, especially in the red zone, that they had not shown throughout the entire season. Save it for the playoffs, I guess. Save it for this matchup. They did. And they were able to have some success. I guess Eagles, at least in terms of making the Eagles think twice about what they were doing. No better example than at least a good adjustment that was made in the touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert. So for the person that hit me up yesterday, I got back to you on that in case you didn't see it. That's what I got out of the Orlovsky. I thought first I was like, whoa, that guy's open. Then I watched it again and went, oh, the timing here, being flushed out of the pocket there. one, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, maybe even a fourth in the progression. So good for the offensive line to give the quarterback that much time. Good for the quarterback to get to his fourth progression. So that was all interesting stuff. And then also, we're done. I'm done with the book stuff. Absolutely done. Somebody hit me up yesterday again. I was into the comments after the show yesterday, and somebody's like, "You saying that about A.J. Brown showed who you really are." And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but it sounds terrible. No, it shows who I really am, that I didn't like somebody reading a book on the sideline. And I've defended A.J. Brown more than anyone. And I have never labeled him a diva, but I still didn't like the book. I don't like the book on the sideline. Concentrate on what you're doing. That's weird to me. That there's a game going on, teammates are around you, and you're just like, what is it? Woosah. Woosah is what Seth Joyner said about it in the postgame show. Your woosah moment. Yeah, okay. That's still weird to me. All of a sudden, you got book club going on? Okay. Population U? Interesting. We got all that to get into today. Fangio, more. Jalen Hurts. 76ers played a basketball game last night without anyone except Justin Edwards. Kelly Oubre was terrible last night, 2 for 10, shooting from the floor, 0 for 4 from beyond the arc. Not good, no bueno. But Justin Edwards, you might have something there in Justin Edwards as a guy to be in your regular season rotation. I say keep challenging him. Pull a Vic Fangio. Don't put any ceiling on him. Give him no expectations. Give him no limitations. See how he does. Yesterday, he came off the bench yesterday when you had a starting lineup full of bench players, so he was off the deep end of the bench. And he played 35 minutes, got to 25 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists yesterday. All right, there you go. Way to be there, Justin Edwards. Other than that, middle portion of the game was great. Sixers actually put up a fight despite no Tyrese Maxey, no Joel Embiid, and no Paul George. They put up a fight. They closed the score. They were losing 37-21 after the first quarter. Yeah, it was 16-point OKC lead. Sixers fight back in the second and third quarter, draw it to, I believe, as little as a 4-point lead. But at the end of the third quarter, they had a 6-point disadvantage. So they cut it all the way down to 6. And then even Kate Scott said it during the broadcast. Then the Thunder did what good teams do, which is just be like, hey, that's adorable that you guys, this part's me, not Kate Scott. You guys are just adorables trying to stay in this game for as long as you did. They're so cute. And then they went on a 20-7 run, and that was that. That was a wrap after that. It was terrible. It was not good, that fourth quarter, but it was to be expected. It was to be expected. As much as I enjoyed the reserves, Jeff Doughton Jr., 18 points last night. All right there, fella. All good. As much as I loved all that, I kind of knew the ending of the movie, and it wasn't going to be good. Also, we're going to get into this today because if social media has taught us anything, it's that there are jerks in the stands at every stadium, at every arena, at every ballpark. Social media has proved this. Seeing an Eagles fan or a Philadelphia fan in general caught on camera calling a woman the ugly C word? No. Right. Having that happen in your stadium, in your home city, that's bad. That never makes you feel good. Even knowing that this stuff happens everywhere, unfortunately. And it got me thinking, like, should you get fired from your job, as reportedly this man did, get fired from his job for the way he acted at a football game? And here's where I got to, okay? It doesn't matter that it was at a football game. It matters that that's a guy who the company felt represented them. And they felt, with that guy getting caught on camera and his face being attached to this and getting all this. Derek Gunn's tweet where he reported that Big Dom found the Packers fan and offered, gifts essentially just as an apology, and then found the fan who was saying the bad things. Ryan Caldwell is the name of the fan, saying the bad things, and then banned him from Lincoln Financial Field. That tweet from Derek Gunn got 21 million views. Like, what? So yeah, it's gone viral. The story's very much out there. And I know some people are pointing at the Packers fan, saying that he was going into the belly of the beast at Lincoln Financial Field and trying to get his followers on social media to put up money so he could do it and all that stuff. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If a company feels like you don't represent them well anymore, you're gone. So it doesn't matter that it was at a football game. If this was video of him on the street and it goes as viral as it did, which I doubt it would, considering when it's at a football game that already has eyeballs on it, when it has the NFL, when it's referencing the NFL in general, it's going to pull even more eyeballs in, of course. When it mentions Philadelphia and fans, I tell you guys all the time, you're the biggest story in sports. You're the biggest, most consistent story in sports. And no, it's not always your fault. It's just that it's the easiest pull for national media outlets to go, look what happened in Philadelphia. We just have that on us. It's on us. It's always going to be on us. That's that. But we all know now, thanks to social media, that it's everywhere. It's not just us. But when it is us, the biggest spotlight gets shined on it. So, should you lose your job? Yes. You don't represent a company well. That company feels like you don't represent them well. You just put your face out there the way you did and said disgusting, despicable things to another human being. Yeah, done. See ya. You get yourself associated with that. You're not going to be associated with my company. The other thing is, it also got me thinking about this. So I didn't get a cell phone. I was like 16 or 17 when I got a cell phone. And that cell phone did not have a camera. Okay. It's a little Nokia you could play Snake on. Okay. My third cell phone, I don't even think had a camera. It wasn't until I got my BlackBerry when I was a man. But if you would have told me before, even if I had my first cell phone, that cell phones would one day have cameras and everyone would have cell phones, meaning everyone would have cameras. If you would have told me that, it would have been a similar situation. Like I remember in radio, they used to tell you, the microphone isn't a microphone. The microphone is a loaded gun at all times. One slip of the tongue, one mispronunciation, one wrong thing, and all of a sudden, even before cancel culture was as popular as it is, that's it. You're done. If you would have told me when I was a kid, when I was just a high school kid, and before I had a cell phone, even my first one with no camera and all that stuff, if you would have told me that everyone's going to be walking around with cameras, the old saying about a civilization with guns is a civilization with manners, that applies to the camera. If you guys have ever heard that phrase before. That's what it looks like. You always have to assume you're on camera. That's why I find it amazing anytime it commits a crime. I'm like, you guys know you're on camera, right? Like, this is what are you, stupid? It's wild to me. And the fact that this person could just have their phone out and this other fan is just yelling or just talking so much trash and being just so disparaging and being so disgusting. They don't realize that they're on camera. They don't realize that they could be on camera. And one of the craziest things about it is that one of the things this Ryan Caldwell guy says is, what are you going to do anything about it? Then watch the game, that kind of thing. Well, the whole internet, literally everybody, almost literally, everybody did something about it. You gotta watch. I don't understand for the life of me how going to an event encourages you and makes you feel like you could speak like that to anybody. Like at any point in time, I don't get how anyone could be motivated to speak to anyone like that in any setting. What I especially don't understand is going to a sporting event is supposed to be fun. Like you should be going there looking to have fun, not looking to be the most disgusting, vile human with your words as possible. Like I get trash talking. I do always tell people, if you want to wear your colors, that's on you. But I'm telling you, don't bring more attention on yourself. Root for your team, throw a yes, whatever. But I wouldn't put a highlighter on yourself in any foreign sporting event. If you're on the road, if you're a Packers fan in this case, I wouldn't go into the link. If you're a Vikings fan, I wouldn't go into Lambeau with your Vikings gear on. No other stadium I would do it. I wouldn't put a highlighter on yourself. That's not justifying anything. That's just general information I give people. But if you are going to sit behind somebody who's cheering for the other team, I get, some light jabs and, oh, look at that. Oh, your boy doesn't have hands, something stupid like that, But to speak to anyone like that is just disgusting to me. And I know I'm not alone, and I know I'm not on some high horse. I know other people have these exact same thoughts. I will never understand it. There is nothing in me, just like most people, that wants to speak to somebody else like that. I absolutely found it disgusting. And the only thing that I don't like, aside from the obvious, which is what happened, is that Philadelphia always gets the spotlight on them. 21 million views on D Gunn's tweet about what happened. At least what he got, what he was putting out there was a good thing, that the Eagles were handling it. And everyone I've seen, like, you don't see anybody being like, well, I think he was justified. No, not even that. And I haven't seen anybody even come up with well, what happened before the video? Because what happens in the video seems like it is completely unprovoked, other than that they were Packers fans and probably cheering on their team. Good God. It was nasty. It was absolutely nasty. And hopefully that's the last we have to talk about that. So, yeah, just whatever happened, just having a good time at a game. Anyway, I think that's the longest intro to the show I've ever done. But welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. We got some spicy meatballs for you. You know what the Packers fans should have said? That just would have killed the whole situation.
Take away the scoreboard.
Thank you. That's what the Packers fans said. Kidding. Little levity to this situation. Let's get the real show started. All right, first and foremost, let's talk about Vic Fangio yesterday. Vic Fangio addressed the media for his media session ahead of Eagles-Rams in the divisional round of the postseason. Rams coming to South Philadelphia, 3 o'clock on Sunday. Can't wait for it. Oh, side note, by the way, Wings fans, the Wings game that night has been moved to Monday at 5 o'clock. So come on out, hear your boy on the old PA system there at the Wells Fargo Center. You got me there. All right. Vic Fangio asked about what he's going to miss in Nakobe Dean being out there. This is literally the first 44 seconds of his press conference.
Vic, what will your defense miss most with Nakobe being out?
His good play. He's really played good for us this year. Gotten better and better as the season wore on. He had the green dot, was a call leader out there and making the calls that ILBs have to make. So we're going to miss him a ton.
Does it change the way you call a game without him in there?
No.
Is that going to be a green dot now, or?
Yes.
Any thought about getting Trotter some reps out there? Is it going to just be Oren Burks, or how are you going to work that?
No, we'll probably get Trot. We're not afraid to put him in there.
All right. That sounds good. Not afraid to put him in there. So I went back, and I know he's only played, overall this season, he's played sparingly when it comes to snap counts. But he played 4% of the snaps against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 4, that gross game. Then 2 weeks later against the Giants in the 28-3 blowout, he played 16 snaps. I would assume they came in the fourth quarter. Total of 9 snaps. Then he played 13% of the snaps, total 8 snaps in the 34-6 win over the Cowboys in Dallas. And then, second to last game of the season, another blowout against the Dallas Cowboys, 41-7. He played 37% of the defensive snaps. These are defensive snaps I'm talking about against the Cowboys. Then, last week of the season, if you remember, he played 100% of the snaps, 53 in total against the Giants in their end of the year, in their finale, the regular season, winning 20-13 against the Giants. In that game, he assisted on 9 tackles, had 2 solo tackles, no tackles for loss, no sacks, anything like that. Had a half sack against the Cowboys in that 41-7 blowout. That was nice to see. But other than that, that's what he's done this year. So he hasn't played a lot, but I would rather have him trending in that direction. I played 0 defensive snaps against the Packers in week 1 of the postseason. But 100% of snaps against the Giants, 37% of snaps against the Dallas Cowboys in the second to last game of the season. So he's gotten his feet wet. So I found that his name coming up and Vic Fangio's compliments, if you will, about him is pointing me in a direction, even with Nick getting signed. And more on that later, but it found me, I found myself thinking like Fangio's were really, he seems kind of open to Jeremiah Trotter. And then he said this.
Yeah, I think Trot's got a good future, and that future may be now.
Interesting. He didn't have to say that. That leads me to believe he's playing now. But he was also asked about Oren Burks. Here he is again on Trotter and then Oren Burks.
Yeah, I think Trot's got a good future, and that future may be now. He's got good instincts, really likes the game. He's smart. He's got a lot of good qualities.
What do you like about Oren?
Oren's a good athlete, can run. He's got experience playing. He's a good tackler, as we saw in the opening kickoff. And we like him too.
Will it be a mix of them or just one?
It could be. It could be.
All right. I think we're all pulling for Trot Jr. I know we're really pulling for whoever the best player is to play. Okay, fine. But if we had to pick one guy, if they were dead even, who would we want? Obviously, it would be Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So, with what you just heard from Vic Fangio, who do you think is the next man up? Who's going to get the majority of the defensive snaps in this game coming up against the Rams? Conventional wisdom might tell you that you got Sean McVay calling plays with that offense. An offense that can explode. Although Cooper Kupp's numbers have been down, Puka Nacua has been solid. The run game's been good. Obviously, you still got Matthew Stafford that can still sling it with the best of them, no doubt. And again, Sean McVay calling plays. Are you going to go with the rookie or are you going to go with the more experienced veteran? Odds are you're going to go with the veteran. I just found it very interesting that all of a sudden Vic Fangio went with the Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s future might be now. I went, and he also talks about the instincts. When the Eagles drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., even before they did it, we knew that he was going to be in the draft. People were talking about him maybe the third round pick, maybe fourth round. He ended up being a fifth round pick. I was like, one of the things that I think rings true to him, and then you saw him play in the preseason, and it absolutely was true. Like, if you were to be the son of a veteran NFL linebacker, if a longtime NFL linebacker, you would want to have some instincts. You would want some of it to be either hereditary or taught by dad. You would want the hatchet to learn from the axe. And watching him in the preseason, first step was always the right step. Stepping up, going side to side, whatever it was. Very good at that. Dropping back into coverage, very good at that. Like, the instincts were there. He was smaller than we're used to seeing, of course, but for a Trotter. But the instincts were certainly there. The fact that Vic Fangio talked about his instincts first and foremost, I think is absolutely puts us spot on with what we were saying about him before the season started. I know a lot of you guys in the comments were saying the same thing as well. So we nailed that, guys. Way to be. It will be such a vote of confidence in Jeremiah Trotter Jr. if he starts over Oren Burks in this playoff game. He's so good. His instincts are so good that he will play over a guy who is a veteran linebacker in the NFL. Has been in a couple of systems already, including the Packers, by the way. So I find that very interesting. And if I had to take a guess, I'm going to say Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is going to be playing next to Zach Bond. More on that was the idea of playing in practice, that those guys have practice next to each other. He doesn't have guys go in, like, other than his starters, of course. He will start off with Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond playing with one another, and then he will mix it up so that these guys build a little bit of a rapport, a little bit of chemistry, just in the event that somebody goes down during a game, next man up is able to go in there and at least have a foundation where, I've played next to this guy before. He talked about Zach Bond again yesterday. We've heard him talk about Zach Bond plenty, as you would expect. He's very happy for him, and the limitations he didn't put on him allowed him to reach the ceiling, all that stuff, and all that was great. The other guy that he talked about yesterday, and he was asked about it point blank, was Nolan Smith. And I've told you guys many times, going back to preseason to now, the Vic Fangio progression of talking about Nolan Smith's progression has been astounding. Like, not even wanting to give him a credit for a sack that he had against the Ravens. Just be like, it's not that big a deal. He wasn't blocked. Like, whatever. We knew he was fast. And then as the season has gone on, you've heard Lane Johnson talk about Nolan Smith. Obviously, Nick Sirianni professed his love to him. If you saw the post-game locker room footage, that's who got the game ball. We talked about that on Monday. But Nick Sirianni was it was as positive as possible when it came to Nolan Smith's progression, how hard he works, the attitude he has, the fierce competitor that he is, and how much he loves Nolan Smith. So Vic Fangio yesterday got asked about the progression and the process of improving Nolan Smith. And here's what he had to say.
In all facets of playing the edge for us, the run, the pass meaning rush the passer, pass meaning dropping when he does have to drop. He's improved in all areas.
I know the depth chart looked different before injuries there, but going into the year, what did you expect Nolan to contribute?
I didn't have any expectations. I shoot high, put no limits on anybody. And let's just see where he went. And he kept improving.
Just kept on coming, and that's exactly what he had to say about Zach Bond. I also found it interesting that he liked what Nolan Smith had been doing so much, and he liked what Josh Sweat had been doing so much, and he liked what Jalix Hunt had been doing so much, that there was no room for Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff played one snap. Your $50 million offseason signing, a complete bust. A complete bust. Who knows? Maybe he gets more run this time around. Maybe they'll need it. But I'm sure they will need it. But I don't see him providing it. You got to get past Nolan Smith now. Go figure. Hey, look, I'm happy that a first-round pick is blossoming. Again, took me by surprise. He is astounding how well he has progressed, gotten better, improved. As Vic Fangio even said, at all facets of the game. So love seeing that. The offense. Ooh, boy. This Rams offense. I keep hearing how great this Rams offense is. Maybe you guys have heard how great the Rams offense is. So just looking at some numbers. They were 0 for 8 on third down versus the Eagles when they met up earlier in the season. That's regular season, but hey, it's what we have to go on. Their defense has been playing well as of late also. 4 in the last 5 games, they've held their opponents under 10 points. So that's pretty damn, including the Vikings, by the way, who they just played. But offensively speaking, they've been held to under 21 offensive points. Now, they had the scoop and score by Jared Verse against the Vikings in this playoff game. And they've been held to 21 or fewer offensive points in 4 straight games. So this amazing Sean McVay high-fly offense has not been as high-fly as people crack them up to be, I guess. But I still look at them as a good offense. And I still look at Sean McVay as a good offensive mind. And Matthew Stafford is a veteran. The thing that bothers me is that ever since the Buccaneers game, where the Eagles were so far off the line of scrimmage, and Vic Fangio said afterwards he leaves it up to the players to make the decision. It seemed like shortly thereafter he just made the decision, get up on the line of scrimmage because these guys are going to try to get the ball out as fast as Baker Mayfield did. The guy that can do that better than probably anyone that the Eagles have seen on their schedule since then is Matthew Stafford. And I remember feeling so confident going into the 2008-2009 NFC Championship game against Kurt Bloody Warner in the Arizona Cardinals, and Jim Johnson blitzing the hell out of Kurt Warner, and Kurt Warner was just like 1, 2, 3 gone, 1, 2, 3 gone, 1, 2, 3 gone. Just easiest thing in the world, just picking them apart, marching down the field. I'll never forget that as long as I live, and that haunts my dreams. It does. Because that would have been the Eagles over the Steelers in the Super Bowl, as far as I'm concerned. And Kevin Curtis getting tackled and not getting called. Anyway, I'm not bitter. But I look at Matthew Stafford as a guy that can beat a blitz. Now, the Eagles, fortunately, blitz less than anybody. But if you're going to give him that much room and give him that much cushion, there's going to be no chance for anybody to get to him. Not Nolan Smith playing at the level he's playing at. Not Jalen Carter. Not Jordan Davis, not Josh Sweat, it ain't going to be there. So I would love to see guys be able to get up on the line of scrimmage maybe half the time here against the Rams. I know you got Puka Nacua. You're going to have him in motion a lot. They love running that like jet sweep type play with him. They love putting him in motion in the backfield. He's become their number one wide receiver. But I still think overall, even without Nakobe Dean, this Eagles defense is going to be – they're going to be eaten in this game. It did get said before by Sean McVay. He did say that Vic Fangio is the best defensive coordinator that he faces. Yesterday, I think it was Bob Brookover of Inquirer.com throwing the question to Vic Fangio when it came to Sean McVay and what he brings to the table.
He's got a great offense that he has great command of. And he's a really good play caller during the game. You know, he can change gears on you at a moment's notice. And he's one of the top play callers in the league for sure, you know, without a doubt.
Oh, we're all having fun with one another. We're all patting each other on the back, whatever. I still like the Eagles in this game. Last I saw was Eagles -6 still. So 6-point favorites. I wouldn't mind that growing a little bit. Why not? On the one last thing on the defensive side of things here for the Eagles. Nicholas Morrow. I was like, oh, well, he was in Chicago. And I was like, did he overlap with Vic Fangio? He did not overlap with Vic Fangio. But where was Nicholas Morrow last year? Oh, he was here. Who was he under last year? Oh, God, I hate to bring up the name, but here you go. Sean Desai. Sean Desai is a Fangio disciple. So the organization knows him. He's somewhat familiar with the scheme. Here we are. That's what we got going on. So that's why Nicholas Morrow is here in Philadelphia again. I don't expect him to start. I expect him to be a body. But then again, I expected Zach Bond to be a body. But anyway, that's what you got defensively. Offensively speaking, Kellen Moore, I gave him every ounce of credit in the world. I did not expect to get much from him yesterday, but I got a lot from him yesterday. The number one thing I got from him yesterday was accountability about the passing game. The other thing I got from him was Jalen Hurts' influence on the game plan and how vocal he's been with the game plan and acknowledging the check he made to Dallas Goedert. He also talked about the Dallas Cowboys gig, said all the right things there. The only thing that I would have rather him say was more of nothing on that situation. So as far as interest in him from the Dallas Cowboys, I know they're still talking to Deion Sanders. The lines of communication are open per Adam Schefter when it comes to Deion Sanders. But Kellen Moore could be a guy that he wants to go after. Jerry Jones, that is. So we talked about all that yesterday. The first thing I'm going to play for you is just how he opened things up when it came to the overall passing game against the Packers.
Passing game obviously wasn't our best performance. Certainly every person involved would love to have it be cleaner, play better in that aspect of the game. But, I thought our guys, again, Jalen's credit, played clean football as far as protecting the football, gave us opportunities. We made plays in some situations when we had to. And obviously that's sometimes how games go, unfortunately. Obviously something that we're all excited to navigate and find better answers moving.
Yeah, let's find better answers moving forward, please and thank you. One of the things I was picking up watching this all 22, like it's so wild to me how I can literally watch Tanner McKee do like a triple sow cow and then complete a pass to who was it on that one? I think it was Jahan Dotson. And I'm not saying I want Tanner McKee. I'm just saying the different play. I'm like, does Jalen Hurts just not like turning his back to the play? Does he not like, the play action handoff? Like they did more under center single back play action than they had all season when Tanner McKee was a quarterback. Now it's different quarterbacks. So you're going to do different things. No matter how much people want to say, oh, it's the same game plan. No, Tanner McKee can't do what Jalen Hurts can do when it comes to all around playing the position of quarterback. There are certain things quarterbacks like to do, certain things quarterbacks don't like to do, and they want to stay away from them. But in watching the game, and honestly, I didn't watch the All-22 with the Giants game at the end of the season. I was good on that. But the All-22 of this game with the Eagles, it just got me thinking, like, does Jalen Hurts just not like turning his back to the play? I'm sure nobody does, but does he in particular not like turning his back to the play? Because you don't see single back, under center, traditional play action passes. And then it got me thinking, it got me going down another rabbit hole here. Like, can I get a stretch play? Can I get like an old-fashioned Peyton Manning stretch play where he goes for as athletic as Jalen Hurts is with this offensive line? Can I get just a stretch play like the old, what was it, Joseph and Die, where Peyton Manning would go like 5 yards, 5 yards to his left, stretch that ball out, bring it in, do that little roll out, and then bomb it down the field to James Harrison. Marvin Harrison. James Harrison would have been amazing. Can we just get one of those to Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown? Can that happen? Like, just when he talks about, here he is talking about variety. I think it was Dave Zangaro, NBC Sports Philly, that asked the question. So, variety in the passing game, is that going to be a thing? And this is what we talked about yesterday. And this is what I was waiting for. Because what Dan Orlovsky was hinting at in his video was predictability. Like, why is it the Green Bay Packers know what you're doing? What is going on here? Why aren't these guys open faster? It's like they know the play, they know the route. Why aren't they open? Oh, that's why they're open. So, variety in the passing game. How do you keep that defense guessing? Here's the way Kellen Moore addressed it.
I think that's always something you're trying to strive for. Just different presentations, different challenges to stress the defense and give yourself different opportunities. Something we're trying to do each and every week. And as the season progresses, that's the balancing act of flavor and different looks and different presentations with an identity and ability to kind of do the things that you've repped a lot of times.
Okay. So we have no answers. Like, don't tell me we're getting into the postseason and the only thing we're going to do different than the regular season is we got a nifty fake tush push deep ball for you. That was my dead on Kellen Moore impression. That is the only thing I've seen that's very different. That's the only thing. And they got the little variations, that little wrinkles that they throw in there with the tush push. Oh, watch us go off center here. Oh, that's the only thing that I saw that was different. That's it. Where are the wrinkles? Where are the different plays? How are we going to do anything different? What's going on with all that? The mind that Kellen Moore is supposed to be as an offensive coordinator, where's a little bit of that creativity? And don't tell me it's a swing pass on 3rd and 7, whatever it was, to Saquon Barkley on your second possession of the game, because that was terrible. Didn't like that one bit. Oh, I marked it because it was so dumb. 3rd and 5. I literally wrote in my notes, dumb play. That was dumb. Don't need that. I would love to see a little bit more creativity in this one. Love to see a little bit more creativity. Variety is the word that was used. As far as Jalen Hurts' input in the game plan, Jeff McClain, Inquirer.com, asked this question about Jalen Hurts and what his input has been and how vocal he's been about the game plan and doing things he likes.
Jalen does an excellent job each and every week just preparing every game new, every game, different opportunities, different challenges, different presentations. I've really enjoyed how we collaborate on this game plan and build it each and every week with Jalen, with the rest of the staff. I think that's the cool part of it, and it takes the whole group, even on game day. The receivers' communication, the quarterbacks' communication, the O-line. I think that's one of the secret sauces of our group is how collaborative they are. Allows us to make the adjustments that we need on game day, and so Jalen's a huge key and aspect of that. His adjustment in the game, they were giving us a bunch of pressure that they hadn't shown in the red zone going into it, so obviously they kind of stalled us out. Unfortunately, he made that signal adjustment to Dallas. Got the ball out of his hand, put himself in an excellent position to score that touchdown. I mean, that's big time adjustment football that he made.
I love the idea that he's acknowledging it at least and just saying, hey, this is a play that Jalen called. Like, we called the play, he checked out of it to get to this play because he saw something in the defense and he made the play. That is a big time adjustment. When you make an adjustment to the line of scrimmage and it ends up being a touchdown, that's pretty big. From the 25-yard line. Yeah, that's a pretty good play. That's a pretty good decision to be made by your quarterback. Oh, that's also good at reading a defense. Wow, look at that. I thought he couldn't read a defense. Way to go, Jalen. That to me is amazing. That to me is great. That's exactly what you want from your quarterback. Oh, this is what they're going to do. Let me do this. Bang. And it worked to perfection. And then Dallas also took it the rest of the way with like 20 yards of stiff arms, which was incredible. Carrington Valentine was the guy's name I couldn't think of yesterday. Carrington Valentine. If I had a butler, my butler's name would be Carrington Valentine. That would be my butler's name. But that's what I had to say about Jalen Hurts yesterday. Now, as far as the game plan goes against the Rams, I don't understand how you could get through a whole season and literally coaches talk about, offensive coordinators, even defensive coordinators talk about not putting things on film that you want other teams to see. Well, now's the time. If we're going to get the same stale passing game, then it's going to be predictable. I did say that this game was going to be Jalen Hurts' worst game in the NFL. So it wouldn't, or in the NFL, in this postseason run. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if all of a sudden in this game, Jalen Hurts had another 250, 290, 300-yard passing game. And I was listening to, because every week when the game previews come out on the NFL network, I watch the game preview. It's a good base for me to just start my prep for the upcoming opponent. A lot of information in like 10 minutes. I love it. So even the NFL game preview guy referenced something that has been an opinion of, unfortunately, few people. And I'm in that few. It's that this passing, or Jalen Hurts hasn't gotten worse. Jalen Hurts is not a liability. Jalen Hurts' numbers being down in a small passing attack from an offense, fewest in the NFL when it comes to pass attempts. That doesn't mean that the passing attack is bad. It doesn't mean that it's dead. It means that if they need it, it'll be there. That's my opinion. If the Eagles need to air the ball out, like I've heard from enough people throughout the year, and I've said this as well, that at some point Jalen Hurts is going to have to win you a game. And if you're the Rams, you don't want Saquon Barkley going off for another 304 yards of total offense in this one. You don't want him going off for another 255 yards on the ground. You don't want him controlling the clock. You want to be able to make Jalen Hurts beat you. In the event that happens and a defense is successful in doing that, saying, we're going to take away the run, as hard as that might be with this offensive line and Saquon Barkley, we're going to do everything in our power to take away the run and see if Jalen Hurts can beat us. When Jalen Hurts is challenged like that, he's going to have to rise to the occasion. I have complete confidence that he will, because my belief, really ever since the middle of the season, when people were starting that nonsense of, oh, is Jalen Hurts going to hold this team back? Jalen Hurts can hold this team back, or I'm worried about Jalen Hurts costing this team a Super Bowl. Yeah, well, every quarterback can cost a team a Super Bowl. I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts costing this team a Super Bowl. I think he's going to rise to the occasion. And if you're the Rams, that's exactly the game you want to play. You want to stop. I mean, every team. It's obvious here. Any kid that's played Madden understands, I got to stop this run. You got to make it air it out. If you're playing Madden, odds are you're going to try to air it out anyway. But that's the mindset. And there's going to come a moment, it might be this game. Just like Vic Fangio said about Nakobe Dean, his future might be now. This future might be now as well, where Jalen Hurts has to win you a game, and you can't rely on 119 yards from Saquon Barkley. And it can't just be the thing that Jalen has done all season long, which is go through this stretch of no passing game exists, and then all of a sudden, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 3, he's converting. He goes 3 for 3 on a drive. He goes 5 for 5 on a drive, and you get that touchdown. Like, it can't just be in the clutch moments. You have to be in control of the game. Because as much of this Rams offense has struggled, again, 21 or less points in 4 straight games, as much as that's been a thing, you mean to tell me that all of a sudden Matthew Stafford can't figure it out? You mean to tell me that all of a sudden Puka Nacua can't figure it out? You mean to tell me all of a sudden that Sean McVay can't go, I have cracked the Fangio code? No, it can happen. Now, as far as the idea of Kellen Moore leaving, look, this is the vicious cycle that we have put ourselves in. Well, the Eagles have put themselves in. This is the vicious cycle. Coordinator comes in. Coordinator does well. He's a head coach. It happened with Shane Steichen. Obviously, it hasn't happened with Ben Johnson or Brian Johnson. But now it could happen with Kellen Moore. The only negative thing you could say, Because, again, Jalen Hurts has had the highest yards per attempt, best completion percentage, matched his highest yards per attempt, had his highest completion percentage, had his highest passer rating of this season. This is the first year that Jalen Hurts was in this new system. Oh, no. The only negative thing is he's barely passed the football. They just haven't used it. Well, they also had Saquon Barkley that year, so that's a nice little transition right there. Or easy to make the transition. So now we're in this vicious cycle of having to go out and get yet another offensive coordinator. Is that where we are? Kellen Moore's name has been brought up in Cowboy conversations when it comes to his potential head coaching job. This is something I referenced weeks ago. I mean, we knew this could happen. We knew Mike McCarthy, even before the season, was on the hot seat. We knew when the Dallas Cowboys sucked again that Mike McCarthy's job probably wasn't going to be – it was probably going to be vacant by the end of the year. And Kellen Moore has ties to the Cowboys organization. So yesterday, he was asked about it. It's important to keep that in mind. And here's what he said about potentially coaching the Dallas Cowboys next year.
I mean, obviously, I spent a lot of time there, 8 years there. And so, obviously, have plenty of relationships about that place. And so, I love it here. I've had so much fun here. It's been a really fun process. And we're in a really special situation right now, getting the chance to play this Sunday, have a chance to make a run at this thing. And that's really all you worry about. Everything else is what it is, and we'll see where it takes you.
The only other answer I would have rather had is, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just thinking about the Rams. It's the only other answer I would have wanted from him. If I had to go A or B with what I said A and what he said B, I would rather go A, what I said. But what he said was still okay. But I never even met those people in Dallas. I've been full denial. Give me full denial of any interest or relationship with the Dallas Cowboys. Weren't you their offensive coordinator for like 5 years? I don't know. Another Kellen Moore. I was at Boise State playing with potatoes. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, just as a side note, Kellen Moore is a god in Boise State, if you didn't know that, in Boise, Idaho. He's a god. Like the people that I know that don't follow sports at all, but are from Idaho, and I do have a sect of my wife's family that are Idaho people. And they're like, wow, you guys got Kellen Moore? I'm like, not to play. Like, what do you get? That's your offense coordinator. I'm like, you are way too excited about this. This is crazy. But anyway, I think Kellen Moore's going to be a head coach next year. I hope he's not. I hope he stays here in Philadelphia. I kind of like this offense with him. I don't want to have to go through somebody else. And I also don't want to have to promote from within. Just a little stability, please. A little stability. But he's totally going to be a head coach next year. Just hopefully not with the Cowboys. Anyway, that's what I had for you as far as what was said yesterday in the press conferences. A couple of more things coming out of yesterday that I picked up. Stafford, according to Fangio, still one of the best passers in the league. Bryce Huff didn't play. I mentioned this because of the rotation. Bond set a great standard for himself that he now has to do every game. That's what Fangio said about him, and I totally agree. Mentioned the backup linebackers playing with one another and the starters throughout practice. And Kellen Moore pretty much got everything I wanted to do. Oh, nothing downfield. The only downfield attempt that they had was that deep ball on the fake tush push. The last game they played against the Rams, A.J. Brown had 109 yards in that game. That was pretty nice to see. Keep going with that. They're going to face another good run game. Kyron Williams, just under 1,300 yards this season. Also, Stafford proved hard to get down going into his last 4 games, including this one, just 6 sacks in those games. Let's also not forget that the Eagles getting 4 turnovers against the Packers, like that didn't help. Even though they didn't really cash in a lot of points, they did on the first one, on the special teams one. But even though they didn't cash in a lot of the points, that still takes away opportunities from the Packers and kills drives. No question about that. Hey, the 76ers played a basketball game last night. Flyers played a hockey game. But first, the Sixers. So the Sixers have a back-to-back. Last night against the Western Conference leading and MVP leading Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. They came to South Philly And the Sixers sat Joel Embiid, not surprised, sat Paul George, a little surprised, and Tyrese Maxey, very much surprised. They now have to go at it against the New York Knicks tonight in this back-to-back. In total, last night, here's the full list. Andre Drummond, toe injury. Joel Embiid, foot. I hurt my foot. Can I go to the nurse? What movie? Hit me up in the chat. Paul George, ankle. Okay. Kyle Lowry, hip. Kyle Lowry's 97 years old, so he's the same joke on Postcast last night. So his hip is going to start to act up. Caleb Martin, groin injury. KJ Martin, foot. We knew. Tyrese Maxey, hand injury. Jared McCain, Comcast put him on there. It's knee injury. Bing, bang, boom. Those guys were all not available. I don't know who's going to be available tonight. Nick Nurse, I thought, was the most honest he's ever been yesterday. When the two things, they're like, hey, what do you do when you get a lineup or when you're told the day of game that these guys aren't going to be available? He's like, well, I take a bit of a gut punch, and then I figure out rotations and starters, or starters and rotations. It's like, oh, yeah, you get the gun punch too. Go figure. How do you think the fans feel that go to the games and go, oh, wow, nobody's playing? Fun. But go Justin Edwards in OTEP Charter School Zone. In HOTEP. So, yeah. And then they're asking about confidence in the Joel Embiid maintenance plan. So, yeah, sure. Anyway, Sixers got blown out in the first quarter, won the middle two quarters, including winning the third quarter by 9 points. And then that's when the Thunder were just like, you're so cute. Justin Edwards was playing basketball with the big boys. Justin Edwards has has impressed. He's impressed me. Do the Fangio thing. Don't give him limitations. Don't get me wrong. Don't put him in the starting five, but keep giving him opportunities off the bench. Ricky Council started in the game yesterday. Sweet sassy Molassie. Ricky Council starting the game. That's where we are. Another guy that I'm happy to see progress. But anyway, they got blown out last night. And they play tonight against the New York Knicks, 7 o'clock. Nationally televised game. No idea who's going to be available. I would assume at least PG and Maxey. That's where we are in life. Flyers. Oh, Flyers. What are you doing, man? They lost in a shootout last night to the Blue Jackets. 3-2, so they pick up a point, 19, 20, and 6 now on the season. Blue Jackets 21, 17, and 6 on the year. That's where they're at right now. Your Flyer goals were scored by Bobby Brink and Owen Tippett. One more shout out to Noah Cates' goal the other night. That was pretty sick. Anyway, all right. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. You want to go to the Eagles game? Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI. Concert, comedy show, sporting event, Game Time app. Promo code FARZI, $20 off your first purchase. Now, let's say you want to go to a concert, a comedy show. You don't really want to see the opening act. You don't care about the middle either. You just want to see the headliner that you love. They still sell tickets an hour after the event on the Game Time app for mega huge Kajunga savings. And they also now have Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app, which allows you to filter out all the fluff and get right down to it. The best seats, the best prices on the Game Time app. Want to go to a game, concert, comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. And also, you can toggle the all-in pricing feature. You know what that does? That allows you to see exactly what you're paying before you check out. So there's no sticker shock of, all right, check out, and whoa, how do these $20 tickets become $30? What happened there? Oh, no. Not when you toggle the all-in pricing feature on the Game Time app. So Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app and toggle the all-in pricing feature. So you take the guesswork out of buying tickets when you know exactly what you're paying before checkout, and you can even view your seat before you buy it so you know what you're going to be seeing, the vantage point at the stadium, the arena. It's going to be awesome. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. What time is it? Game time. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat. Check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday morning. This week is flying by. Good gracious, this week is flying by. And first day, here we go. Malik. Malik A. Johnson. What's happening? Good morning. Go Birds. April. Sean Gillespie. Thomas Brunson. April. Cat getting blamed. I laughed out loud. Mullet Alvarado. Hey, bud. Wine Nighters Wine. Good morning, Farzy and friends. Few short days until Eagles feast on the ooze. Female sheep. Thank you. Spike 23s. What's going on? Will Moore go turncoat on us? Maybe. The plays I've seen Trot Jr. in, he looked great. He even had Tiki bringing up old stories during the Giants game. That's right. Yeah, that's pretty great. Just be ready. I love it. Good morning. Good morning. Northeast Sports, I think. Stop the BS. Hurts doesn't have to throw the ball as much as Stafford, Goff, or Herbert to be a good winning quarterback in the league. I agree. I agree on all counts. You know, there's not a lot that people can say to me that bothers me. Like, I get asked a lot by people about, you ever read anything online that really bothered you? Like somebody saying something about you. And I'm like, if I haven't slept and I'm a little ornery already and I read something about like I suck or whatever, I'll be like, maybe. But what really bothers me is when people say I said things that I didn't say. And this actually pissed me off. I looked down during the postgame show. I'll try to keep track of some of the comments during the postgame show. And like I had just got done saying that Jalen Hurts started out perfect. And then he had that little spot in between where it was weird. And then he played great. He played clutch again. And then I looked down to the comments and it's like, oh, there goes Farzetta saying, looking for any excuse to say something negative about Jalen Hurts. And I'm like, is that not what happened? And I feel like I've defended Jalen Hurts and been in support of Jalen Hurts more than most. That's what pisses me off. So I'm with you. Northeast Sports. By the way, good to see you again. Also, do any of your commentators ever talk about if the pocket collapses? Do you guys like Stafford, Goff, or Darnold have the legs to evade the rush if the pass rush gets to him? Yeah, no, that's why I think it's such a great compliment to give to Jalen Hurts. Like, that's why I hate the idea of game manager being on. And I don't think of game manager as exactly like the worst thing that a quarterback could be, obviously. But if you could change the game with your legs, your arm, and you come up clutch in those moments, third downs, for instance, late in games, answering other scores, like that to me isn't a game manager. That's being like game managers for me just do this job, but they don't turn it over, and that's that. And Jalen Hurts hasn't turned it over, but he's also made the big plays to make sure that the Eagles win football games. So I give him every ounce of credit to that. Whoa, mullet. It was Tobias Harris in the chat. We all know what an avid reader he is. What? Thomas Brunson, hello. All I know is Jalen Hurts is a winner. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Smith about to go off 100% against the Rams. This ain't the Vikings. Hells yeah, man. Northeast Sports. Both dual threat quarterbacks and pocket quarterbacks have their strengths and weaknesses. Dual threat quarterbacks maybe don't throw the ball as much. But it's not even the idea of not throwing it as much. It's that you have Saquon Barkley. Traditional pocket passer is Yep, I agree with most of this stuff. Sean Kilrain. Hey, Sean. April, most companies now have a clause that you have to represent them well outside of work. That guy is a giant turd and deserves everything he gets. There was a poop emoji. For the people on the podcast, there was a poo emoji. But the boop. Sean Kilrain, Sean Smith is referring to the Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams game this weekend. Eagles have not won a game with Smith officiating. Oh, in all their games since 23. I did not know that. So he hates the Eagles. Oh, wow. Sean, great pull. Smith was the referee who wrongfully ejected C.J. Gardner-Johnson this season. Thoughts on this, Farzy? The Eagles will overcome. Thomas Brunson, brimming with confidence. I don't care, or I don't know who they throw in front of us. They are not stopping us from winning the Super Bowl. There you go. That's all I need today. Thank you. Brian, good morning. April, he knew he was on camera. He didn't care. He thought he was above consequences. I don't know. I got to go back and look at it again. I didn't notice if he looked at the camera. I would figure it'd be kind of hard if you're like, oh, yeah. You know. Oh, are you filming me? I don't know. Also, it would take a lot for me to get physical. But if I'm there with, let's say, girlfriend at the time, right? My wife now, right? If I'm there with her and somebody's dropping that on her, I don't know if I'd be able to restrain myself. Like, I give this Packers fan a lot of credit for not being like, oh, what was that? And then just pulling him down and then just wailing on him. Because usually higher ground, you have the advantage. Not in that situation where you got no footing. You pull that guy's ass down, man, and he's yours. If I had a couple of drinks in me, and the guy was saying that to my wife, oof, or girlfriend in this case. For the record, I only have a wife. But if that was the way it was going down, I don't know if I'd be able to restrain myself, especially if I had a couple of drinks. And I'm not someone that like takes a couple of drinks and like ready to fight. I'm ready to fight. Now, it's not in my nature, but someone's going at it like that. I don't know if I'd have it in me to be like, I need to tell a security guard. Like, I would have to handle it myself. I hope I'd have the presence of mind to not get physical. But somebody saying that to your significant other, that's not fun. That's not fun. Brian, hello again. Dakota Warren, what's going on? Farzy the Early Bird. Yep. Well, according to some. Tate says laugh out loud asking about Oren Burks after Trot, right? Oren Burks, by the way, is actually it's appropriate for us to add the famous Philly S onto a name that doesn't have it. This name has it. His name is Oren Burks, not Oren Burke, for those that might be confused. Dakota, I would love to see Trot start as well, as would I. Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. Exactly right. People always invoke freedom of speech and think that means you can just say anything. That's not true. That's not what freedom of speech is. That's politically to protest and all that stuff and demonstrate. That's not to just be – that's why verbal assault is a thing. People always mess that up. What about free speech? What? Like, I remember when I was like 7th and 8th grade, we thought we knew what free speech was. And we're like, we can't get in trouble before we say it. It's like, that's not at all what that means. Don't do that. Dakota says Oren gets the nod at first. Rather see Trot, though. DJ, Mr. Sandman, let's effing go, Trot. Hell yeah. Trot Jr. says Sean Kilrain, in my opinion, with Fangio, has confidence in him, but he'll go with the veteran Burks. Interesting. Ooh, Derek Brooks. Look at that, Dakota. Zach Ball and pay the man. I hope so. Mr. Sandman, you get your athleticism from your father and your brains from your mother. Was Trot's mom an athlete? I think she was an athlete. I don't know why that's sticking out in my head that she was an athlete, but I feel like she was an athlete. They're selected to play the All-Pro. Personal life. Son of Jeremiah tried to play 12 seasons of linebacker. Brother Josiah, linebacker, plays much. Tried as a cousin of former NFL running back Terrence Ganaway. I did not know that. Doesn't say anything about his mom, who has passed. I think most people know that. Oh, this is a weird site. People's parents. Okay. I don't know. It's not coming up fast enough for me. And I don't want to make you guys wait. But now I'm interested. Now I'm in the rabbit hole, man. Yeah, no, I don't have anything there. Scoozy. But you know his dad played for the. All right, anyway. Buddy Christ. What's happening? Jonathan Skills. Hello. Mitchell going to shut down Nakua. I hope so. Dress warm, Ella. Dollar Monster, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Sean Gillespie, on that Sean Smith thing, thank you for paraphrasing, give me a little subject line there, a little slug, as we would say in the business. He overlooks hard hits on our quarterbacks, but will kick out CJ for talking. However, this can soar to higher ups Can spread to higher ups really crack down on this guy? I don't know. Eric Wisniewski, hello. I'm worried Hurts hasn't looked good all year in throwing game. But that's the thing. He's looked great in those clutch moments. Yes, there's been not so great things, and then there's been clutch things. And the other thing I go back to is his worst game of the season was the Panthers game. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. 2 of them were passing. That's bonkers. And everything was bad in that game. Tanner is more accurate. I still think Tanner McKee is the best. And I agree with Seth. You're just talking about, hey, you want to throw a ball through a tire? Tanner McKee's your man. You want to win a football game? Jalen Hurts. Thomas Brunson, you and I are on the same page. Play calling had me at times like, WTF, what are we doing? Right? Was vanilla. I agree. Stafford not going to be able to evade the Eagles' pass rush. I concur. Thomas Brunson, y'all are tripping in the comments. We not win this game, let alone win the Super Bowl with Tanner starting over Jalen. And somebody say we're starting. Did somebody say that? I missed that. If somebody said we're starting Tanner or they want Tanner over Jalen, that's just crazy talk. I just saw a number from you, Sean. Hold on. I'll get to you. Where the hell do I see that? There it is. Sean Kilrain. Rams are allowing 128.7 yards per game. Angry runs for Saquon and Gainwell. Let's hunt, Farsi. Yeah, they're a pretty porous run defense. Dropping back. Wow, the chat is popping off today. Eric Wisniewski. I got minus 2% faith in the Sixers. That's great. Brady ball. Neil Watson. The league is stacked with zebras against us. Well, let's get those zebras. April, Farsi. You know what really grinds my gears? April, F that. If he said that to me, I would throw him down. Throw him down a few rows. Yeah, I'm not a violent person, but I will fiercely defend my family. That's for sure. Jeff Bone, the Bonehead. How do you think the rookie corners will go against Puka and Cooper? Cooper Kupp, round 2. I have no reason to believe that they'll be bad. Cooper Kupp, there's one stat that I got out of that preview. Cooper Kupp has only been targeted 4 times or less in 4 straight games. Like, he ain't it, man. Cooper Kupp ain't that offensive player of the year guy that this has not been a great year for him. And he came off injury, missed the beginning of the season, or sat out a lot in the beginning of the season. What did he miss? Yeah, he's only played in 12 games this year. Wow, he's been banged up. So since that Super Bowl year of 1,947 yards, wow, and 16 touchdowns, Triple Crown year, he has not had a 1,000-yard season. He's had 1 800-yard season. 6 touchdowns for him. Wow, look at this. That's incredible. 3 targets against San Francisco, 3 targets against the Jets, 3 targets against the Cardinals, 1 target against Minnesota in this game. That's bonkers. It was for 29 yards. His last 2 catches were for 29 yards apiece. That's insane. Yeah, ain't what it used to be. Cooper versus Kupp. That's funny. Eric, just give the ball to Dallas. He was a bulldozer last game. I'm all for giving the ball to Dallas. Anthony Lear. I like Tanner too, but this is the playoffs, guys. Even if it wasn't the playoffs, Tanner McKee is not even in my thought when it comes to this game. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. As mentioned, your 76ers with God knows who in the lineup tonight. They take on the New York Knicks, ESPN game. National audience. I'll be on with you guys after the game on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, so make sure you check that out. So subscribe, like, and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Flyers, so that game 7 o'clock tip-off. Flyers drop the puck tomorrow night against the Islanders. They continue this road trip. They're in New York against the Islanders. 7:30 puck drop against the Islanders. Islanders 17, 19, and 7 on the season. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow and tonight. I'll be tonight, Locked On Sports Philadelphia, so check that out. So like and subscribe Farzy Show. Like and subscribe to Jacob Media. Like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia, and like and subscribe to Trot Jr Show YouTube channel as well for all your Eagles pre- and post-game needs. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate everybody. Catch you guys tonight following Sixers Knicks. It'll be a real incredible game, let me tell you. See you.